The Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be insane. Yeah, you guys, I'm reading the comments. I can't even say massive anymore. Of course, how Switch 2 is going to probably be a really cool console with some new features, it's all about the games. And finally going around the cycle again and getting a whole new, probably decade of new video games is going to be super exciting. And there's so many that we can actually look forward to. So today, I decided to put together a giant list of every single possible game that we could get for Switch 2. A lot of this is probably stuff that you'll just probably be like, duh, but at the end of the day, it's just something to get excited about because Switch 2 is right around the corner and these amazing games are too. But thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before we get started, and let's dive into every Switch 2 game that we could actually get within the next 7 to 8 years. Now, I wanted to do this by game category because I feel like it'd be easier that way, and there's a lot of games in specific franchises. Like for instance, we're starting with Mario, and there's a lot of games we can talk about. What Mario games could we get on Switch 2? Well, we obviously know we're getting a brand new Mario Kart, so Mario Kart 9 is a shoe-in, but what else are we going to get? Well, I think we are for sure going to get that open world 3D Mario game that's been rumored for so long. It's been so long since Odyssey. It's definitely time, and we'll probably see it during the April showcase, which is super exciting for me. But with this game probably coming out within this year or next year, I think there's a good chance that we could get another 3D Mario game on the Switch 2. Something that's more linear like 3D World would be really cool as well. So that way you have a little bit of best of both worlds, which would be awesome. A new 2D Mario game like Wonder is probably going to happen around the middle or end of the Switch 2 life cycle, which would make sense. Maybe even keeping the same art style as Wonder, or maybe Mario Maker 3. I wouldn't even say maybe, I think it's a shoo-in based on the sales alone. Mario Maker 3D would be amazing. Being able to make our own 3D Mario Maker levels, and maybe that's our second 3D Mario game instead, just having everybody make their own 3D Mario game. Something else I think is a guarantee is we're going to get some Mario sports games, and I'm guessing 3. I'm guessing Mario Baseball is finally going to make an appearance since Super Sluggers on the Wii, and Mario Basketball is going to make a return. Since Mario Hoops 3-on-3 on the DS, yes, we technically had basketball and Mario Sports Mix on the Wii, but we're getting a new full-fledged basketball game, I'm predicting. And I'm guessing some type of third sport. If they want to go back around to tennis or go back around to golf or something at that time, sure, but I think we're going to get around 3 Mario sports games. It just kind of makes sense. I mean, we have 3 currently on the Switch with tennis, golf, and Strikers, which Strikers, it didn't live up to the hope and expectations. But we have a new Paper Mario game for sure. I think with all the hype around the 1,000-Year Door, and hopefully they make a new Paper Mario game along the lines of the 1,000-Year Door, kind of that classic RPG way they've originally created Paper Mario instead of the Sticker Star, Color Splash, Origami King route. Origami King wasn't terrible. I'm going to die on that hill. But still, a new Paper Mario game, more along the lines of the way fans wanted it to return, is probably going to happen. Some other type of new Mario RPG is going to happen as well, I do believe. I don't know if it's going to be Mario and Luigi. It's definitely based on Brothership sales, which didn't seem to be that strong out the gate, but I think we could see another Mario RPG style of game. Yeah, I'm talking just like Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. We could get something similar to that, and maybe just a whole new type of Mario RPG. But I think we are going to get 2 Mario parties, maybe even 3, but I'll just say 2 for the sake of this video, and they're probably going to be pretty good. I think Nintendo finally found what they lost with Mario Party over the years, and I think we're going to have some good ones there. And then we're going to have Mario Galaxy 2. I think it's going to happen. It's one of the only 3D Mario games not on Switch, so I think it could make its debut on Switch 2. Maybe it's that second 3D Mario game by, you know, just completely remaking the game, and even adding new content, new galaxies and stuff would be really cool. And then finally, the last Mario game I think we could get is something wacky. Some type of Mario spinoff, kind of like we got with the 2 Rabbids games, but something different. And I'm thinking maybe even Lego Mario. I mean, we have so many Mario Lego sets. Why not have a Lego Mario video game? I think that could be a really cool spinoff idea. Next up, we have games that I would call Mario adjacent, so kind of like Mario spinoff games. Luigi's Mansion 4 is 100% happening, and I think we'll even see it potentially at the April show. It was just a huge success with Luigi's Mansion 3, selling like over 13 million copies, so I think we're for sure going to see that very soon in Switch 2's life cycle, and it's going to be a pretty big game. I hope they get really ambitious with it and just go all out. Then we got probably a new Captain Toad. I mean, we do have Captain Toad that kind of re-released on 3DS, re-released on Switch, I mean, so did a lot of games. But still, I think I would be really excited to see a bigger, more ambitious Captain Toad game coming out with bigger and larger worlds with bigger and crazier puzzles. Then I think we would probably get maybe a Yoshi's Island game. They all seem to be doing pretty good, at least the Yoshi's Island games. Everything else is kind of hit or miss. Crafted World sold pretty well, so maybe something like a Crafted World Yoshi's Island combo could be cool. I personally think Yoshi should go into 3D, kind of like Kirby did, but that's just me. Could you imagine a 3D Yoshi's Island game? Oh, it would be so good, please, Nintendo. Something else that should be 3D is a 3D Donkey Kong game. I would love to see a 3D sandbox game, and I think it could very well happen. There was rumors that one was being developed by Vicarious Visions, which is the company that made Crash Bandicoot, I think the Insane Trilogy. So it'd be really cool to see a 3D Donkey Kong, kind of like a Mario Odyssey style Donkey Kong would be cool, kind of going around these little open worlds and, you know, swinging on vines and grinding on, you know, vine rails would be so awesome. Or maybe just the third modern Donkey Kong Country game. I mean, we have Returns, we have Tropical Freeze. They're both really good games, Tropical Freeze being one of the greatest 2D platformers I've ever played, so why not a third one? How come we still haven't gotten that? I mean, we just gotten old games for the last 10 years, so yeah, it's time for something Donkey Kong. And then finally, I think we could get a new 2D Wario Land game. It's been a very long time. We've been getting tons of WarioWare games, but no Wario Land games. It's time to see Wario's next adventure in 2D. I don't think they're going to go 3D, at least not yet, like they did with Wario World, because that was just a crazy game. But I just would want to see some type of Wario adventure game here soon on Switch 2. Now we move on to The Legend of Zelda, and there could be a lot in store, more than we might think. Now, I think we're only going to get one huge new open world Zelda game on Switch 2, because we just got Tears of the Kingdom in 2023, so it's going to take a little while. I'm saying like half of the Switch 2 life cycle, which is kind of a bummer, but I think there'll be other games to tie us over. I think we'll eventually get a new 2D top-down Zelda game, a more traditional one starring Link, since Echoes of Wisdom was a little bit different. Maybe something more traditional, what players would actually really want to see again. A big remake, something like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, kind of remade from the ground up, would be really cool to see. Maybe even finally getting Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. Both of these games are on the Wii U. They're already in HD. I don't know why Nintendo won't just port them over. And if they've been saving them for this long, maybe it's because they knew they'd have a giant gap between the next Zeldas, so they knew they would also have time to get Wind Waker and Twilight Princess out on the next console. So that's the thing that I hope is happening right now. But yes, there's even rumors saying that we could get a Breath of the Wild remaster or some type of, you know, enhanced version for Switch 2. I personally hope this doesn't happen. I mean, I've played so much of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I like fully 100%ed every single Korok in Breath of the Wild. I don't want to go back to that game, and I feel like a lot of people don't want to go back to that game, especially if you play the sequel, Tears of the Kingdom. So it's still a little weird, but I think it probably is going to happen. It sounds like something Nintendo would do to even piggy bank more Breath of the Wild sales. But I can't lie, I know it'll probably never look this good, but after watching this 8K footage from Digital Dreams on YouTube, it kind of makes me want to play the game again in a weird way. It's just like, man, if it looks that good, maybe it will drive me to come back. I don't know. We'll see, but I just love how the game looks with this just extra layer of graphics and just smooth frame rate. It's beautiful looking. But we could get a Link Between Worlds remaster. I think that'd be really cool because it's a great top-down 2D Zelda game, one of my favorites, and I think it'd be a great game to remaster or remake, you know, maybe even the Oracle games, who knows. But yeah, I think we also are going to get some type of spin-off Zelda game, like a Warriors game. I'd personally love like a fighting game, kind of like how Link was in Soul Calibur, but with just like all Zelda characters would be really cool. But who knows, maybe there is some type of Zelda spin-off that someone's working on. What about our pink boy Kirby? Because he definitely showed up for the Nintendo Switch. Will he also for Switch 2? I definitely think so. He has had an outing for Switch, so I can't wait to see what's in store for the little pink guy. I think we're definitely going to get a new 3D game like Forgotten Land because it was such a great experience. For Kirby's first 3D game, they cooked, so I can't wait to see what's next. And I think we'll even get a new 2D game too, because Star Allies played it pretty safe, so I really want to see them, you know, take everything they can to make a brand new, from the ground up 2D Kirby game with some original worlds, characters, power-ups. I think they could do some really cool stuff with that. We might even get a lot of smaller Kirby games, maybe some more fighting games like Kirby Fighters 3, maybe some type of 3D Kirby Fighters, kind of like we got with Battle Royale on the 3DS, maybe a new version of that for Switch that you can actually play with people online on the Switch 2 console. I think that'd be pretty cool. Maybe something a lot bigger with like 20 Kirbys in an arena, you know, last one standing wins. I'd say another eShop smaller game, something like Kirby's Dream Buffet could happen. and then probably a remake of an older game again. Now, there are rumors that Planet Robobot is coming to Switch 1, so maybe it's Triple Deluxe, for Switch 2 for some reason. Maybe it's something else entirely, like another Kirby Superstar kind of remake instead of Ultra. It's like Superstar Mega or something. I don't know. Something like that could happen. Somebody else has also had a pretty good outing so far for Switch, and that's Metroid. So yeah, we know Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is coming. Now, some people still think it's only going to be Switch 1. I think it's going to be crossed between Switch 1 and Switch 2, or maybe just Switch 2, but I think it's definitely going to be on Switch 2 in some capacity, which is really exciting. So yeah, let's just say Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I think we'll get a new 2D Metroid for sure, like Metroid Dread was so good. Apparently Metroid Dread was like the end of that current story, so maybe they'll start a whole new story or something like that, who knows. But I think maybe even a remake of Samus Returns could happen from the 3DS, which was technically already a remake of Metroid 2, so maybe something like that, or maybe even Super Metroid could get a remake, or Metroid Fusion, or maybe even Metroid Zero Mission. There's a lot of Metroid games that could get remade, so I'm sure they have tons of things to go off of there. But personally, I know this one's going to be crazy, but I think they should remake Other M. I think Other M was a really good game with good potential. I think the controls did hold it back with that stupid D-pad on the Wiimote, so if they actually gave us, full stick controls and everything, I think this could actually be a really fun game for a lot of people that never got to experience it. I think it should happen. Just give us new controls, bump the graphics up, and I think like a lot of people would enjoy this game. The fighting, the combat is fun. The story can sometimes be slow, but it actually has a really good story that I enjoyed, and I enjoyed the environments and the setting of the game and this giant kind of space satellite zoo thing. Yeah, it was really cool. So I really hope that they actually give this game at least one more chance in the future. And yes, I left out Primes 2 and 3 on purpose because I feel like they have to be coming before Prime 4, right? On Switch 1 soon, please? Please, Nintendo? Now it's time for a bunch of other series and franchises that we could get. Yes, let's start off with Smash Brothers. We are going to get a new Smash Bros. Game, and I think it could be relatively early in the Switch 2 lifecycle, like year 2, probably. But what is it going to be? I think it's going to be a reboot. I hope it is for the series, kind of reworking lots of the fighter movesets, that's been the same since like Smash 64 and Melee, so hopefully that's what they decide to do, and adding some new first-party characters, Nintendo characters before moving on to a lot of third-party this time would be awesome. Splatoon 4 is a shoe-in. I don't even know if it's going to be called 4 because apparently the current trilogy is over and there's going to be like a new story potentially for Splatoon 4, so it might just be subtitled something completely different. Who knows? Whatever it is, I think it's going to be the only main Splatoon game of Switch 2, honestly, and I think it's going to be around year 2 or year 3 until we actually see this game. I think they're going to have tons of content for this game, really make this game huge and like the main Splatoon for Switch 2, and I feel like the only other Splatoon game we might get is maybe an adventure game spin-off. I think this is something that a lot of fans have wanted to see, a true, adventure mode instead of like these little floating platform obstacle courses we get. And yes, doing so in its own game would allow it to really open up and be in a full adventure game where we can like paint up buildings and terrain and landscape and stuff instead of like these floating obstacle courses in the sky with little side missions. I think we'll also see some type of new Switch Sports type of game, or maybe even a 1-2 Switch type of game. I don't know what it's going to be. Switch Sports was so maybe this is more of like the Wii Sports Resort for Switch 2, like a Switch Sports Resort, actually putting in full effort and tons of games at launch and not quote-unquote free updates years later. Then it could be a pretty exciting new game, maybe where we can interact with other players on the island, like a Wii Sports Resort Island would be so cool, like Woohoo Island. It'd be awesome, but we're gonna have to wait and see. New Wii Fit or Ring Fit style of game would make sense. Ring Fit sold extremely well, so seeing a new Fit adventure type of game would be pretty cool. We are definitely going to get a new Xenoblade game, and personally, I think we're going to get 2. I think we'll see Xenoblade 4 and Xenoblade 5, if they're even called that. I'll admit I'm not a Xenoblade fan. I know of the games. I am now just starting to dive into the series with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, so I am getting into the series now. Better late than never, right? But still, yes, I think we'll definitely see a couple of Xenoblade games. We might even get a third that's kind of a trilogy collection of Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3. Maybe even throwing X in there too, who knows? But I think eventually, like for people like me that maybe haven't dove in yet, they could just get all the games in one little bundle. Probably sometime in the far future could happen, or maybe even like a Xenoblade Warriors game could happen. I know we have really been talking about what series could do it next, and I think it's definitely either Xenoblade or maybe even something like Pokemon, maybe even Kirby could get away with it, but I think Xenoblade makes a whole lot of sense. Fire Emblem is another series that I haven't played, but I also am getting started with that very soon. But I think we'll get 2 new Fire Emblem games, same as Switch. I don't see why not. It just makes a lot of sense. Hopefully, you know, more along the lines of Three Houses. From what I've heard, Three Houses was definitely a lot better than Engage, and Engage just did some things that fans didn't really resonate with. So you could probably even expect 1 or 2 of those people from those games to be in Smash Brothers. I could definitely see it happening. I think we'll definitely be seeing the next Pikmin game, but I'm hoping it's more ambitious. I'm really hoping that Pikmin decides to go open world, and I know a lot of people get mad when I say this game or this franchise should go open world, but I feel like Pikmin was just based around that concept in the first place. You're marooned on this planet all alone until you find the Pikmin, and you have to collect ship parts all over the different regions in that area. Why not make it open world? And why not make it a vast world and landscape where you can traverse and have to hurry back to your ship before nightfall, finding creatures up in the mountains and stuff? Oh my gosh, it would be so good. So I really hope they give us something super ambitious for Pikmin, like a Pikmin world or something, is really what I'm hoping for. And then we'll probably have the next big Animal Crossing. I'm not a huge Animal Crossing fan. I tried New Horizons. I just personally couldn't get into it, but I see why people love it. It can be addicting for those that really just want to grind in that game. But I see there being one big Animal Crossing game with updates for like 2 to 3 years to follow. It's going to be one of the biggest games probably on Switch 2 after how big New Horizons was, and I would expect this thing to be announced relatively early in Switch 2's life cycle. I think we could also see the revival of Star Fox. It's been a very long time since Star Fox Zero on the Wii U, so maybe a more ambitious project for Star Fox is what we need instead of these reimaginings of Star Fox 64 all the time like Star Fox Zero kind of was. So I'm hoping we see something almost along the lines of Battle for Atlas, which actually included the Star Fox characters and was like the best non-Star Fox game, if that makes sense. But something, you know, like I said, just more ambitious, kind of like No Man's Sky, like kind of just seamlessly flying from planet to planet, landing on the ground, and maybe even hopping out of your R-Wing, hopping back in, kind of like Star Fox Assault. Oh, it could be so good if they really put in the time, money, and effort into a big Star Fox project. I think if for some reason we still don't get Kid Icarus Uprising soon on Switch 1, we'll maybe get it on Switch 2, but I think by then they should just do a Kid Icarus Uprising sequel, just make a new Kid Icarus game. That would be great as well. Maybe that could be what Sakurai's working on instead of Smash. Probably not, but still, one can hope. And F-Zero something. F-Zero has kind of had a soft revival for Switch. F-Zero 99 was a pretty big hit, and there's rumors that F-Zero GX is going to be making some type of, you know, comeback with a remake soon, whether that's Switch 1 or Switch 2, so something F-Zero could happen for Switch 2. I think we could also get maybe a smaller Punch-Out style of game. Now, there was that dev interview recently that just said the reason why there really hasn't been more Punch-Outs is because the whole cultural thing with the different characters could come off as insensitive. But I'm like, just make up original, unique, stupid characters that have nothing to do with their culture. They're just stupid themed characters, or maybe even Nintendo characters that Little Mac fights or something. But I'm hoping that we see something, even if it's a small eShop type of game, or a classic style of game brought back, or just a remake of some capacity. I really would love to see Punch-Out again. I also would really love to see Rhythm Heaven. I can't believe we haven't seen Rhythm Heaven so far on Switch 1, so it looks like the curtain might close. I don't know yet, we'll see, but if it doesn't come out on Switch 1, we should definitely get a new Rhythm Heaven for Switch 2. And here's just a flurry rush of other random and possible things we could see. Like, we could see a new Tomodachi Life. I know a lot of fans have been asking for that. I would love to see a new Fluidity. I know this is weird and random, but I love Fluidity, and there's only, I think, 2 games, one on the Wii, one on the 3DS, so even if it was just like a Fluidity HD remake pack or something would be cool, or maybe a Push Mode remake pack of all the Push Mode, Stretch Mode, Crash Mode games, or maybe just a straight up new Push Mode game altogether. Maybe Earthbound finally gets some type of major remake, or just straight up giving us Mother 3 finally on Switch 2. But finally, this last category I just completely forgot because I'm not a huge fan at all of the series, and that's Pokemon. So yes, duh, we're gonna get new Pokemon games. We're clearly gonna get Gen 10. We may even get Gen 11. You know how fast Pokemon Company likes to move. Hopefully they take their time and maybe just do Gen 10 for Switch 2 and just make it a big deal with DLC and just really, you know, cook really hard. Make sure there's no bugs. It looks really good. Please, I mean, I think Pokemon fans definitely deserve that. Probably another Pokemon Legends style of game after ZA. I'm pretty sure ZA is going to land on Switch 1 right before Switch 2 comes out. So maybe eventually another Legends game because fans are eating Legends up right now. And we also have probably tons of spin-offs and remakes galore. At this point, it could be anything, another Pokken fighting game, or maybe some type of new Pokemon Snap, or maybe just, you know, straight up a Pokemon Warriors game, like I said earlier, would be really cool, but something along those lines could happen, who knows. Ooh-wee, that's a lot of Switch 2 games. I can't wait to see what Nintendo's actually been cooking up all these years, and I think that's the most exciting part about a new console. It's just the games that come with it. Of course, we still have to wait about 2 months until we see these games, as we have to wait until the beginning of April, which just seems like it's so far away. But of course, if you want to stay entertained until then, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so that way you get updated on when I post. I have a lot of fun projects that I want to do before Switch 2 arrives, so make sure you stay tuned and locked in here on Nintendo Land. But thank you so much for tuning in, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.